Things started. Glad you're with us here on this Monday afternoon. We'll kick things off with head coach Scott Satterfield. We'll let him start us off, and then we'll open things up for you guys for questions.
Yeah, first of all, just, sun did come back up yesterday. I thought we had a really good practice yesterday, just getting right back after it after a tough loss. A lot of things we got to get better at. We know that. And, again, our guys came out yesterday with really good attitudes and was ready to get back to work. And, we know we have a good challenge this week versus Pitt. Obviously, a very well-coached football team. Sitting there 2-0, 1-0 in the ACC, where it's our first road game. We got obviously a lot of respect for them and Coach Narduzzi, what they've been able to accomplish. An outstanding defensive team and an offense is very efficient. And, so we know we have to have a great week of practice to go up there and compete. We know it'll be a great challenge for us this week.
Yeah. Scott, Russ Brown with Kentucky today. Some of this is pretty obvious, obviously. But what were some of the things that you feel like you've got to definitely get better on this week?
Well, obviously, what disappointing things on last Saturday was just, the big plays, and three of them were touchdowns, and that's 21 points right there. And we lose by 13. So, that was their big chunk yardage type plays and just got to get better at that. And we cannot just give up the big easy plays and the way we were lined up and, not doing what we were supposed to do. And, you don't even have to have much talent to score, on those particular plays. But obviously Miami had a lot of talent and they scored. Anybody we play from this point forward in our conference, they all have players and they all have guys that can take it the distance. And there's also a lot of smart coaches in this league. And if you have a weakness, they're going to take advantage of it. And we know that. And so we got to do a really good job of, being where we're supposed to be in alignments, doing our assignment, not trying to do something, something that, what ends up happening is you try to overcompensate for somewhere where you maybe think you're weak, and then they expose you because you're not where you're supposed to be. So we got to do just a much better job of being where we're supposed to be, and if we get beat on a play and we're where we're supposed to be and they're just better than us, then so be it. But we got to make them earn it. And I think that's one of the things that we got to get better at. Obviously disappointed in the first half with our third down on offense, not picking up some of those first downs, because obviously if you feel like we pick those first downs up, we got at least 3 more downs. We have enough playmakers. We think we can go score. We got to get touchdowns. I mean, I hate kicking field goals. We had to kick too many field goals Saturday night as well. You got to get in the end zone so you get more points on the board. And so, there's several things to get better at, no question about it. We're still early in the season, and we're working toward that way.
Hey, Scott, Camp Journal. When you look at Pitt, I mean, they might have probably the most complete defense in the ACC. I mean, a really talented defensive line, a really talented safety and Paris Ford. Just what do they do defensively that allows them to be so successful, you think?
Well, I think number one, they keep it pretty simple what they do. I mean, they don't do a bunch of exotic things. They have 4 down linemen. I think they're as good as a unit, as good as anybody will play. So they have 2 big defensive ends that can rush the passer. D tackles are very solid on the inside, and they're going to put pressure on your offensive line with those 4. And then you mentioned, the safety forward, who's an outstanding tackler, but he also can cover. I mean, he's just a football player. They lock you down on the outside with their corners. They play man-to-man, and they let the rest of the linebackers and safeties run to fit the run. And they're very aggressive. Their linebackers are downhill. So they just continually put pressure on offenses the whole game. And it doesn't matter. You can turn on any film. That's just a Narduzzi type defense. I mean, they do an outstanding job. He's been doing it for many, many years. And that's it, man. They put good pass rushers at the end. They play the corners man-to-man, and then let the other guys run and fit the run. It's not complicated, but they're good. They're very good at what they do. You have to earn everything. There's not any freebies, so very solid defense.
And I'll follow up to that real quick, Scott. This would give the offensive line, I mean, really the third really tough test up front. Just what has been your review of them the first two weeks?
Yeah, no question about it. you start out with Western Kentucky, who we thought had a very solid defensive line. Then of course Miami with the two ends they had, and really their D tackles we thought were really good as well. And I think our guys have played pretty good up front. We've did a pretty decent job of protecting the passer. I know Saturday it was a couple that we gave up, one on fourth down, and then Malik trying to get out and ended up fumbling the football, and that was considered a sack as well. So. But I think the guys have done a good job. I mean, I think, Ronaldo Brown has done a great job as particularly as a freshman. He's got really good feet. He played his tail off, we thought, the other night. Adonis Boone has done a solid job. So I think overall our offensive line has done a really good job with it. Against Miami's really good defense, we were able to run the football. Hawk had a big night for us, and threw the ball down the field pretty good as well. So I think overall our offensive line has done a very, very solid job. We know it doesn't get any easier this week. I mean, this is maybe, like you mentioned, the best defense in the ACC. And so we know it's a huge challenge for our guys up front, and we got to do a great job of blocking them. And, it doesn't stop. I mean, shoot, everybody we're playing, we feel like it's got a great D-line.
Scott Russ again, you talked about their defense. What about their offense with Pickett, Addison, I guess, a good receiver, the Davis kid that's the running back? How do you evaluate those three?
Well, Coach Whipple's their offensive coordinator. He's been around a long time, including NFL, head coach at UMass. We've faced him before. I mean, he does a really, really good job. They do quite a bit of unbalanced. Over 50% of their offensive plays, they'll be either a tackle over or some sort of form of unbalance. They're trying to outflank the defense with their unbalance. I think Pickett's a very underrated player. Threw for over 3,000 yards last year. He's very, very solid. He does exactly what they want him to do within their offense because, if they don't make mistakes offensively, they feel like they're going to be in every game just but how their defense plays. And they can run the football, and so they're gonna try to outflank you with their formations, run the football. The next thing you know, here comes a play action. And they're trying to get your secondary, off kilter there, and so they can free up one of their guys running down the field. And Pickett's he's going to hit them. So they do a really good job, and they have a good scheme. And I think what they do is their offense fits well with what their defense does and how solid their defense is. And I think that's why they've been successful there at Pitt.
Coach, hey, it's Jody Dimling with CardinalAuthority.com. You talked about your defense and the missed assignments, and obviously it's just one game and it's no time to panic. But all summer, Coach Brown and you guys have talked about the depth in the younger guys. Are those younger guys in the secondary close? I know Lovey played maybe the last series. Are they close to being able to get in there and help you guys a little bit?
Well, I mean, we're trying to get them ready. I think, it's tough. You don't want to really get ready trial by fire, because if you're getting out there and next thing you give them a big play, which obviously we don't want. So, a lot of it goes back to practice. I mean, we're competing in practice with everything that we're doing. We're trying to develop depth, trying to develop more guys that we can put out there on the field, for several reasons, really. But, I mean, to put the best playmakers on the field. And I think, you do a lot of that through practice. The guys are coming along. You mentioned Lovey did get some time in there. Minkins is starting to do a better job in practice. I think, he's going to be a good young player for us. We have a couple young corners out there that are practicing well also. And, hopefully as we go through the season, we'll be able to get those guys in and get them some playing time and then get them back out, and I think, just to get them in there and get their feet wet. That's good for Lovey to get out there the other night and play a little bit. These guys are very conscientious, smart players, but they're having to learn quickly in practice so that we'll get an opportunity, and we feel certain they will this year.
It's Scott Cameron again. Big plays aside, that second quarter by the defense was a pretty solid quarter. They were able to get after the Air King a little bit more. Do you feel like you have a defense that if you rush three, you guys can still get some pressure? Because it looked like you guys kind of called a few more blitzes there in the second quarter than you did maybe early on.
Yeah, I think, we certainly need to get better when we do only rush 3 or 4 guys in the pass rush, because if you're doing that, you're not getting to the quarterback, then he's able to stand back there all day. And then, I mean, it's just hard to cover the guys that we in this league that they can run for a long period of time. So you feel like you kind of caught there. Do you bring pressure? And if you are, the ball's got to come out fast now, which is obviously a good thing. But the more pressure you can get with rushing 3 or rushing 4, then that's just going to obviously help our defense tremendously. And so we're we've got some guys that we're trying to build. Again, we brought Yaya in. We're trying to build more depth there to try to be able to rush the passer. We still got to get a lot better there. We're not where we need to be up front wise right now. We're playing a lot of guys, but we got to find guys that can get to the quarterback. And we got to get better in that aspect.
Hey, Scott, Michael McCammon from Cardinal Authority. After the game the other night, you defined Malik's performance as average. Obviously, he missed the touchdown early, and it was kind of holding the ball loose. How's his response been, I guess, after film study and getting back onto the field following that performance?
Yeah, he knows he's got to make the plays. We expect him to make every play. We have high expectations at the quarterback position. And, if you just on the surface looked at the stats, you're like, oh, wow, the quarterback had a solid game. Well, but he missed several plays out there, and we got to do better. You mentioned the touchdown. Ian was wide open in the back of the end zone. We got to hit that. We throw at the interception that he threw. He had Dez wide open in the flat. We got to hit him right now instead of scrambling out, and ended up throwing a pick. So it ended up costing us. And then the carelessness carrying the football. That's unacceptable. We can't do that. And he's got to be able to get better at it. We have, again, high expectations. We expect him to play at a high level every single week. Now, was it a good game? Yeah, he had a good game. There's no question about it. Threw for over 300 yards, and we scored some points against, we think, a really good Miami defense. But we expect him to play better than that, and quite frankly, he has to. We have to score touchdowns. We mentioned that, not field goals. A lot of our offense comes back to the quarterback, and it's decision making in the running game and in the passing game. He's got to do better with that. And again, he handled it great. He knows he wants to play a great game every single week, and so he takes the coaching, and he's becoming a good leader for us, and so hopefully he's going to continue to get better, continue to grow from everything that he's doing, and we want him to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and there's no question about it, and I think continue to work on that. He'll be able to get there.
Scott, hey, it's Jody again. You normally practice with a lot of music and to get ready for crowds and atmospheres. What's it? Have you even addressed it yet with the guys with no fans and how different it's going to be? And what kind of challenges does that bring?
Well, yeah, we've addressed it and we've talked about it, but things we can't control, we don't really worry about. You watch these NFL games; they really hadn't had any fans either. The guys are still going out and playing. And what they're using now with this ambient noise, sounds like a crowd is there. When you're playing football or coaching football, you really don't look up in the stands. Really, all you do is kind of hear. So they are playing that noise through the speakers, so it kind of sounds like there's a packed house in the stands. If you didn't really look, you wouldn't know the difference because of the noise that they're putting out there. But this will be the first game we play with zero fans, so that, who knows how our guys react. We have talked about it. We hope they'll just go out and play football and focus on their job, which is for them to make plays and to do their assignments. So, hopefully it won't be a big deal.
Coach Pat Jaggers, ESPN Louisville. Juwan Pass was listed as being away from the team for personal reasons. What's the latest with him, and could you provide us any details on that? Thanks.
Yeah, he's back this week practicing, so he's good to go this week.
Coach Jody,
go ahead, Jody.
In the second half, Jordan Watkins returned kicks. Got a couple. Got one that it seemed like he was pretty close to break, and then he got a catch. Can you speak to maybe his development early on? Is that because Hassan was maybe dinged up, or is he good to go?
Yeah, we'll see about Hassan. He'll be listed as day-to-day this week. Hopefully he'll be ready to go by the end of the week. And, that's why Jordan got it. Yeah, he's been working back there, really for the last couple of weeks. Anyway, we feel like he's a playmaker. He's a good football player. He got a big catch in the game, got a first down on it on a third down. So Watkins is going to be really, really good for us. He's coming along each and every week. Again, he's learning everything that we're trying to do. He's getting better at it. Still got a lot to learn, but he does have talent. He plays hard. We the way he plays. I think hopefully as the season progressed, he'll get more and more time offensively and get in there. And I know he wants that, and I think he'll be able to do that. It's just about learning exactly what we need for him to do, and he's getting better at it.
Hey, Scott, this is, oh, go ahead, Cam.
All right. On Saturday, and I don't know how much you pay attention to all of this, but Florida State head coach Mike Norvell tested positive for coronavirus, and then obviously you had to have a backup coach. Have you talked with your staff at all about, hypothetically, if you were to test positive, who would coach the team and how that would all work?
Yeah, we've talked about it, and you certainly have to have a plan, if anything like that happens, and you never know. And what my understanding was that he's asymptomatic, doesn't have any symptoms, but tested positive. So I think obviously this unique situation that we're dealing with this year, we see teams not being able to play and canceling games on a Thursday. I mean, it's kind of crazy. We really are living in day-to-day times right now. And if something like that happens, we have a plan in place. And, I feel like we got a great staff here, a lot of great coaches. If it's me, then I think our guys will be in great shape to be able to handle everything with what we want offensively and as a team. I think, obviously best case scenario, nothing happens to us, and we're all available each and every week. But it's a unique challenge for everybody. It'll be interesting to see how they handle it this week. I think they play Miami this week, so that'll be interesting to see how they handle it.
Coach, this is Matt McGavin from Sports Illustrated. This is the first game this season in which you are facing a quarterback who's not known as a dual threat. How does that alter your defensive game plan going into this game?
Well, you still have to, even though he's not considered a dual threat, I mean, he still can take it down and get some yards. I mean, he's not scared to run, and so you still have to continue to cover your gaps and anything that they may be doing. They also have potential to go wildcat where they can put a running back to catch the snap at quarterback. They've been known to do that as well. So, there's a lot of things, you have to teach your defense to be fundamentally sound in everything, all aspects. Although he's not considered a big-time runner like the first two guys that we had, so you can change your defense a little bit in that regards to where maybe you don't have to, keep as many in the box if they do spread your formation out. But I think just in general terms, you're still going to play your defense. You're still going to continue to have your same gaps and defend everything that you have to defend within their scheme of their offense.
Hey, Scott, this is Tyler Griever from WHAS 11. You talked about the pandemic a little bit. With this obviously being the first of 3 road games coming up, what challenges do you anticipate in terms of just keeping the guys safe and focused when traveling for the first time during this?
Yeah, I think, again, I've mentioned this the whole time about the procedures that we have in place. Again, Matt Summers and his team have done a phenomenal job. As we go traveling, if you think about home games, we're getting on our buses and we're still going to the hotel, and all our operation will be the same with that. The difference in this particular game will be that we'll have to get on a plane. And, so we will take some precautions with that. I mean, we're not going to be eating on the plane. Everybody's going to be having their mask on. We're trying to spread out as much as we possibly can within the plane. But if we keep our mask on and do not eat and not take it off, and most of our guys, when they get on the plane, they're kind of sleeping anyway. Hopefully we'll be safe. And at the same time, we're still testing throughout the whole week. We continue to do that on a weekly basis. So, we feel like it's as safe as we possibly can be with everything that's going on with this virus. Our guys have done a great job with that, and we'll continue to do that. Like I said, the only main difference here is the plane and the travel with the plane. So what we understand is that the plane travels now with the way they're moving the air within the plane, constantly moving. We feel pretty safe about that.
Take a couple more before we wrap up.
Scott, Cameron again. A lot of time this summer we talked a lot about the defense growing because it's in the second year in Brian Brown's system. They understand what's going on a little bit more. I mean, obviously you mentioned those 3 big plays. Do you feel like this defense is still taking a step forward in terms of cutting down on some of those misassignments and those misplays?
Well, I mean, I hope so. We did in the first game. Obviously, this game right here, we let those three big plays go to the house, and obviously we can't have that. We're getting better. We just got to continue to prove it on a game by game basis, and ultimately that's what we're going to be judged by. is when you look at the end of the game, how do we do? How many yards did we give up? And more importantly, how many points did we give up? And, we got to continue to try to lessen the points and not give up so many points. I think, we scored whatever we scored the other night, over 30 points, and still, you end up losing by a couple of touchdowns. We just got to do a better job with that. Everybody in this league can score. They all have good, solid players, good quarterbacks. I mean, this league from top to bottom maybe have the best quarterbacks in the country when you just look at league to league. And so we got to do a better job with it. And I think we are continuing to grow and we are getting better. And I think at the end of the season, when we look back on it, this will be a better defense than last year. And but we got to continue to prove that each and every week.
All right, we'll take one more for Coach.
Hey, Coach, Tyler again. A bright spot from Saturday night was obviously J.B. Hawkins. He's off to a great start this season. Just what kind of improvements have you seen from him this early in the season to show you growth from last year?
Man, he's I told our team, I was like, when you go to a game, there's one guy we're going to take, and it's going to be Hawkins, because he plays his butt off each and every rep. He's not the biggest running back in the world, 185 pounds, but had 27 carries. Incredible. He's also the guy that got the onside kick at the end. I mean, he is exactly what you want as a competitor to have on the football field. And, he wanted the ball. He wanted the ball more, and he got hit hard throughout the night, as you can imagine. And, so we love the way he plays. He's an inspiring player. The guys want to play around him. They want to block for him. They feed off of his enthusiasm and the way he can run. I mean, one of the run that he made where he started off to the right, spun around and outflanked the defense and scored a touchdown against Miami. I mean, you see that in high school sometimes, and then when guys get into college, he's like, you can't do that in college. These guys are too good. And Miami's kid can run, and he outflanked the whole defense for a touchdown. That's big time impressive. So he's a big time player. He's just continued to get better and better. It's hard to beat what he did last year as a running back, one of the best in the country, and now he's doing it again this year. So we'll continue to lean on him and continue to give him the football, man, because he makes plays.
All right, Coach, we'll wrap up on that. Thanks, everybody, for being with us today.
All right. Thank you, guys.